8-7, solving inequalities. How many of you, raise your hand if you remember how to solve a two-step equation? Okay. Two-step equation would be like 2x plus 3 equals 9. You can solve for the x. Okay. We just did that, so it should be pretty fresh in your brain. And you've done it a lot. You're right. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we are going to solve step inequalities. Okay? So first one I'm going to do is this one. So make sure you get this one in your notebook. AB. Okay, pay attention because we're past that. We have y minus 5 is greater than negative 6. Okay, now when you solve this, it's just like solving an equation. The only thing that's different is that inequality sign. Remember we talked about yesterday the difference between equations and inequalities. Do you remember what the difference was? Equations have one answer. Inequalities have many answers, okay? Oh my gosh, seriously, were you paying attention yesterday? Kind of. It's not good enough for me. So equations have one answer. Inequalities have way more than one answer. So our answers today are still going to be in inequality format. We don't have any equal signs, but they're solved the same way that you would solve an equation. Okay, so if I look at this, and if you aren't sure, pretend in your head that that's an equal sign. What's the first step I'm going to do to get y by itself, Harley? Yep, and I'm going to do that to both sides. Remember, is everybody on the same page I am? Because you've done this before. Then you have y, you bring your sign down, is greater than negative 1. And that's your answer. So in your head, what can y be? No. 0, 1. Okay, so now let me explain how this works. So let's pick 0, and let's put 0 in for here. 0 minus 5 is what? Negative 5, right? Is negative 5 greater than negative 6? Yes. Let's put 1 in. 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Is negative 4 greater than negative 6? Okay, yeah. Okay, well, that's why you have to go back to your notebook from yesterday then. Because your notebook from yesterday has all the signs, remember, and every single thing we've talked about. So if you need to use your notebook and if you get confused on the signs, you have to go back to your notebook. Okay. All right, then if I was going to graph this, one person explain to me how I'm going to graph this. Trinity. Okay? What has to be on the book? Okay. Negative 1, and then I'll go 0, 1, negative 2. Then what? Okay? And what does my arrow go? Y is greater. What way is my arrow going to go? Right. Does that look familiar to everybody? Because I'm pretty sure today you're going to have to solve and graph. Okay? Let's do this one over here. If I have x plus 5 is greater than or equal to 10, what am I going to do? First, I'm going to minus 5 from both sides. So then I have x greater than or equal to 5. So what are some things x could be? We're not going to graph it, let's just talk about it. If x is greater than or equal to 5, give me one thing it could be, Lydia. 6, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, yada, yada, yada. And if I'm going to graph it, it's going to look something like this, right? Okay. Let's go to multiplying and dividing. So you understand adding and subtracting, I'm guessing you go to there. Okay. Let's go to multiplying and dividing now. So if I'm multiplying here, what am I going to do to get rid of that 7? Divide by 7 on both sides. So then I have f is greater than or equal to 3. Make sure you have some of these in your notebook. These, especially, because my 7th grader struggled on those kinds right there. So if you're not sure, make sure you have that written in your notebook. We did do this last year. And then, over here, if I view divided by 4 is less than 8, what am I going to do to get rid of that 4? I'm going to times, because what's happening in there? You're dividing, right? So I'm going to times by 4. And then another thing the 7th graders got confused on was What if this is negative? Do I multiply by -4? Do I not multiply by -4? What do I do? Always multiply by whatever this number is, positive or negative. It does not matter. Times 4, I have u is less than 32. So there's a lot of things you could be. You could be 30, you could be 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 25, 22, 21. Negatives, definitely. Fairly simple so far. It is simple because you already know how to solve an equation, and it's the same thing. Okay, now there's one big rule that you have to know, and we talked about this last year. This has to get in your notebook with like circles around it, or like, I don't know, hearts around it, or something so you see it. And this is the rule. Okay, when multiplying or dividing by a negative number, you must switch the inequality sign. Inequality sign. Not the negative or positive sign, the inequality sign. So the greater than or less than or whatever we're talking about. Nope, not on the other ones. I'll show you why. Alright, so when multiplying or dividing by a negative number, you have to switch the inequality sign. So let me show you. Here's an example. Okay? This is example 1. I'm going to show you a few examples of this because I still have people say, well, I don't know if I switch it now or not. So I'm going to show you a few different examples of when you do and when you do not. So these are two examples of when you do switch the inequality sign. Because look at this. We just solved one like this before, and Virginia told me that to get rid of this, I had to multiply by it, right? Okay, so I'm multiplying by -3. Am I multiplying by -3 on the other side? Yes. So now I have x, and this side would be -27. So since I'm multiplying by a negative number here, this sign has to flip. And the reason why is because the inequality sign doesn't understand our number line. It doesn't understand that at 0, the number line basically flips over. It doesn't get that. It thinks it still has the greatest over here. You know how it goes from least and then it goes from greatest and then all the way down to the least? It doesn't understand it does that. So that's why we have to switch the sign here. So this is another example. So if I look at this one, to get rid of that -8, I'm going to divide by a negative number. See, this number is negative. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Guess what? It's got to flip like this. Oh my gosh. Brain fart. I'm going to show you somewhere I don't, and I probably will answer your question. Okay? Let me show you somewhere I don't too. Go back. Okay, so this is an example where I do not have to do it. So let's take 3d is greater than 12, -12. Okay? This is where I don't have to. Even though there's a negative, but I still don't. What am I going to divide by here? 3. Is it a negative number? No. I'm going to divide by +3 here. Is this a negative number? Even though this one's negative, this one I'm not dividing by. This is what I'm dividing by. Is it negative? 3 is not negative. I'm talking about the 3, not the answer. Correct. Yes. Good. So then it'd be d is greater than, and this would still be -4. That's okay. Your answer's negative, but I'm worried about this number right here. Okay, that's a no. You do not flip it. Yep. Yep. I just said that. Yep. 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 So let me do another one. So we'll do a division one this time. So we'll do u divided by 2 is greater than -6. So to get rid of that 2, I need to multiply by 2. It's a positive. I'm going to multiply 2 here, and my number is not negative here, so I do not flip. Even though my answer is negative, that's okay. That number that I divide by or multiply has to be negative. Okay? So like I said, the number with the variable, and like what Ryan asked me and Lydia, the number with the variable, if that's negative, then yes, you flip the sign. Okay? Kaylee? When you would? Sure. let's do negative 2f is greater than 10. So I'm going to divide by negative 2. Negative. Switch. Negative 2. So be f is less than negative 5. Because the sign doesn't understand that when you divide, your sign's going to change. It doesn't understand that it's going to make your answer a different sign. It doesn't get that. Yeah, it doesn't. The sign doesn't understand our number line. That's why. It doesn't get that. After 0, it flips over and starts at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. It doesn't understand that. So we have to manually do that so it does understand it, if that makes sense. Yeah, what's that? The sign isn't real, you're right. But in math it is. Let me show you one more you got to. Can I show you one more? Alright, let's do this. Let's do u divided by negative 3 is greater than negative 4. So I'm going to multiply by negative 3. I'm going to multiply by negative 3. I have u be less than 12. I don't know. I'll have to look at my book. Okay, so does everybody understand when you do and when you don't flip it? I had one 7th grader who didn't remember this at all on his test, and he got a lot wrong. So you have to, yeah, this is an important one. This is an important one. So, any questions so far? Okay. All right. Let's do a few of these, and then we'll be done for today. Okay, let's do a few with fractions and decimals, and then we'll be done. These are easy. If you want to do these on your own, go for it. You go for it. Let me look at my book here. Sometimes I forget to look at my book. So 12 through 36. These are pretty easy. I'm going to do one more with a fraction for you, just so you have another example in your notebook, I think. Because I think these are fairly easy. It's way too easy. Pick the easy ones for you today. Oh, I know, and something else I got to show you. Okay, good. All right, so this one, I'm not going to solve them yet. Decimals. What are you going to do to get rid of that 9.3? Add to it, right? Okay. 9.3, 9.3. Should get D is less than, let's see, 21.8. Woohoo! Good job. This one over here. Notice how your being stuff is on the other side? That's okay. You're going to add 1.5. Add 1.5. So it should be 16. And then this, right? Okay, so timeout. I just want to take a timeout right here. Notice how your b is on the other side. Mr. Kernizl in Algebra 1 likes it when your variable is on the front. Okay, some problems aren't going to do that for you. They're going to make it so they're on the back like this one did. He likes them when they're on the front. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to change it. So if I'm going to change this, I'm going to flip these two things around. What else do I have to change then? My sign. Because look at, if I go like this, let's say I keep my sign. This tells me two different things. This says b is less than 16. Okay, and this one 16 is less than b. That's two different things. So I have to make sure, and the way I always do it, figure it out. Say, okay, what side's my bigger one going to? The B, so then I have to make sure the big side's going towards the B. So if you want to flip the two around, you have to make sure that you flip the sign too, otherwise you get the answer wrong. Okay, any questions on that? I'm going to do one more fraction one, just so you have one in your notebook, and then I'm going to be done. No mas, one more. It's this one. It's going to be 7 over 2. Y is greater than 63. Does anybody remember what you're going to do for this? What's that? It is improper, you're right. I'm going to divide it, which in turn times is, remember? Okay, so I'm going to divide by 7 over 2, get rid. I'm going to divide by 7 over 2, and so you could do 63 over 1 times, right, 2 over 7. Remember, because you have to change it for reciprocal reasons. And then you can really reduce this, like a lot. 7 goes in once, goes in 9, so it'll be 18 over 1. Ooh, not 81. My gosh, what's happening? 18 over 1. So be careful with some of those, okay? Be careful. And then don't forget to write it like this. Don't forget to write it like that, because remember, I need to see the solution set, which just tells me what the solution set could possibly be. Okay? I think 10-2, or a little before that. A little before that. So I'm going to give you a little time here to get started and see what this is like. Okay?